Hello beloved souls, thank you for tuning into the Spiritual Podcasts channel. This channel is all about good vibes, positive energy, and meaningful conversations. To keep this space welcoming for everyone, we kindly ask that comments stay respectful, kind, and in the spirit of the content shared here. We reserve the right to delete any comments that don't align with this intention. No hard feelings, just protecting the vibe. Thanks for being here and spreading the light. Please be cautious of anyone claiming to represent Spiritual Podcast and asking you for money, donations, or personal information. We will never ask you for money through comments, messages, or DMs. All official updates and content come only from this channel. If you see suspicious activity, please report it immediately. Stay safe and thank you for being part of our community. If you enjoy the video and its content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Please be kind to other viewers of the channel. The video is about to start.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something pretty fascinating. It sits right at that intersection of, quantum ideas and deep spiritual awakening.
That's right. We're talking about the Great Solar Flash and the shift to 5D reality.
Exactly. Lots of requests for this. And we're using guidance that's channeled from Avolon, often identified with the Andromedans. They offer a really unique take, very personalized.
It is. And our mission today, it's pretty crucial actually. We need to get past that picture of the solar flash as just some, big dramatic light show in the sky you just sit and wait for.
Right, like something happened to us.
Precisely. This guidance insists the real shift, the monumental one, it gets triggered inside you, inside the individual, right now, potentially.
Okay, so we're going to unpack this idea of an inner solar flash.
Yes. How to activate it and how that personal ignition, how it instantly shifts your life's trajectory, your timeline. We'll get into what that means.
Okay, but before we dive deeper, we should probably acknowledge who this material often speaks to most directly. The Starseeds.
Ah, yes. A lot of listeners who really connect with this kind of information, they often resonate strongly with that term, starseed.
So if you're listening and you sometimes feel, perpetually out of sync, if the sort of the density and the competition of 3D life just feels exhausting or maybe even fundamentally wrong,
then this guidance suggests you might be exactly that. A soul with a cosmic heritage. A starseed who volunteered to be here for this exact moment on the planet.
Volunteered for transformation.
That's how the Andromedans describe it. Souls who came to Earth specifically for this high-stakes transformation we're in, they often feel disconnected from the usual 3D struggles. Yeah. The bureaucracy, the lack of empathy, the obsession with lack and scarcity.
That really rings true for many. That feeling of yearning for something else.
Exactly, and that yearning you feel for 5D reality, that place of, wisdom, unity, unconditional love. It isn't just wishful thinking, according to this source. It's like mission recall.
Mission recall, I like that.
Yeah. You're here specifically to help facilitate this great awakening. And 5D reality, that's essentially your home frequency, your natural state.
So if you're listening and you just know deep down that your purpose is bigger than just, paying the bills and navigating traffic, this material is really getting into the how, the technical side of your spiritual mission.
Right. But here's the big reveal. The twist, you could say, that kind of reframes the whole journey.
Okay, what is it?
The Great Solar Flash. The huge external burst of energy the planet seems to be waiting for. It's not just an event you wait for.
Ah, okay. So it's not solely external.
Precisely.
Yeah.
We hear a lot about the external thing charging up, right? The potential coronal mass ejection, the CME, but Avolon insists that waiting for the external to trigger the internal. That's a profound misunderstanding. It misses the point about quantum mechanics and, divinity itself.
So the real power.
The truly powerful energetic threshold. It's already charged and waiting within you, within the listener. You aren't just waiting for the sun. In a sense, you are the sun.
Wow. Okay. Let's unpack that. Section 1, the inner solar flash. The idea that the external flash is just mirroring something happening inside us, that's huge.
Yeah.
It flips the script from being passive to being active initiator.
It really does. The core argument here is that, the CME might be a major global catalyst, sure. But the principle of the solar flash, that rapid, powerful illumination, expansion, that principle, is already active inside you. It's the radiant spark of the divine.
The source within.
Exactly, residing in your heart. Ancient texts often symbolized it, the Christ light, the soul light. It's your core essence.
But why use the symbolism of the sun and a flash? Why not just say awakening? Seems intense.
Well, symbolically, the sun represents the ultimate divine self,
Yes.
right? The source
Yeah.
and flash, that implies immediacy, intensity, a sudden ignition.
Oh.
Avalon describes it as an accumulated inner magnetic charge reaching critical mass. Think about it. All your positive actions, your focused meditations, the healing work you do, every act of genuine love, they don't just vanish, they build. They build an energetic field within your being.
So it's like we're charging up an internal battery,
Right.
reaching an energetic saturation point.
Exactly. And when that built-up charge hits a certain threshold, boom, it releases its full brilliance. It transforms your consciousness, sometimes instantly.
So the external solar flash might deliver this big cosmic energy boost.
Right, but if your internal battery is already charged, already optimized, you can actually initiate and experience your own personal flash of awakening that propels you onto a higher timeline right away, independent of whatever cosmic clock is ticking externally.
Okay, let's talk mechanism. Avalon says activating this inner flash is what initiates the timeline shift to 5D. How does that actually feel? Practically speaking, if someone goes through this, what changes?
It's described as a fundamental rebirth, like the very foundation of your consciousness shifts. This leads to what they call an undeniable difference between the before and the after.
Undeniable difference. Okay, like
People often report physical things first. Colors seem way more vivid. Nature feels alive, almost like it's communicating. And maybe most importantly, a baseline feeling of profound peace or unconditional love just exists, where maybe anxiety used to be the default setting.
So the outside world, the job, the relationships might look the same initially.
For a bit, yeah. But the internal operating system is completely different, overhauled.
You shift from reacting to creating.
Exactly. You stop looking outside yourself for validation. And those old fears, those core 3D survival anxieties, they lose their grip. Their magnetic pole weakens. It allows you to operate from a place of unity and abundance, even if your circumstances haven't fully caught up yet.
Okay, this brings us right to timelines. That word gets thrown around so much in spiritual circles, sometimes it feels a bit vague. How does Avalon define it? They're trajectories, right?
Yes, simply put, a timeline is a story, an experiential trajectory unfolding within the quantum field. But here's the core insight. You're always, right now, existing simultaneously in multiple potential timelines.
Multiple potentials, okay.
And your consciousness, specifically your vibrational state, meaning your dominant thoughts and your emotional frequency, that's the dial. It's constantly tuning you into the timeline that matches that vibration.
I want to make sure I'm getting this, because it feels like where the real power is. Our emotional state is literally defining our future reality. Is that what they're saying?
Absolutely. The feeling is the vibrational choice. If you're consistently operating from, say, a low emotional state, fear, frustration, resentment, despair, you are consciously or unconsciously aligning yourself with a denser timeline, a more challenging one where those feelings get validated.
You attract experiences that confirm the fear.
Pretty much. You attract what you are vibrating. And conversely,
if you choose a higher emotional state, gratitude, peace, love, unity,
then you align with a more harmonious timeline, a flowing one. That's the essence of the 5D shift. That higher state naturally attracts experiences that confirm those feelings. The path feels smoother, more synchronistic, more abundant.
So shifting timelines or making the jump
requires a significant and ideally sustained change in your conscious state, your vibrational home base. This shift can be subtle, a gradual increase in feeling good and seeing more flow. Or after a major inner flash event, it can be dramatic, like a true quantum leap to a parallel version of your life that is visibly, tangibly better.
I think one of the biggest struggles, especially for people identifying as starseeds, is feeling swamped by the collective timeline. You turn on the news, and it often feels like we're locked into a negative path. Does Avalon suggest we're just stuck riding that wave?
No, not at all. The source material really emphasizes this. The current global situation, the conversation, involves a major split, a bifurcation.
Right.
There's one trajectory, you could say, dominated by fear, division, control, that's the old 3D paradigm trying to hang on, versus a positive trajectory defined by love, unity, cooperation, shared abundance, that's the emerging new Earth, the 5D reality.
So my choice, your choice.
Yeah.
It actually affects the collective outcome.
Exactly. You are emphatically not at the mercy of some external, predetermined timeline. You are a creator. You are a timeline jumper. The collective shift towards that positive 5D new Earth depends entirely on how many individuals choose and, crucially, sustain that positive trajectory in their own lives.
Wow.
If enough people ignite their inner flash, the entire planetary field begins to resonate differently. It's a collective outcome driven by individual energetic sovereignty.
That's like a grassroots ascension movement. Okay, that clarifies the theory. Now, let's get practical. Section 2, creating the conditions for ignition. This inner flash, it sounds like part miracle, part method. You said it's a mix of grace and preparation. How do we actually prepare for something that, well, you said can't be forced?
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, isn't it? The source is quite nuanced here. The flash itself, the big ignition, you can't force it with your ego. You know, the part of us that's like, okay, I'm going to meditate for 10 hours and make enlightenment happen now.
Right, that's striving energy.
That energy actually pushes it away. But what we can do, and what we're guided to do, is create the container, create the optimal conditions for grace to enter and for that spark to ignite. The effort isn't in forcing the flash, it's in the preparation. That's where the accumulation happens.
Okay, accumulation. Let's talk about that. What specific actions or efforts fuel this inner light, helping it reach that critical mass you mentioned?
Avolon gives a pretty broad scope here. Every positive action counts. Every deep, intentional meditation, every session where you genuinely work on healing something within yourself, every act of true, unconditional love towards others and yourself, all of this fuels the inner light.
Okay.
But here's a crucial detail, something that makes this really practical. The fuel also comes from facing and healing your inner shadows.
So it's not just about love and light. It's about dealing with the tough stuff, too. Like turning trauma into, I don't know, rocket fuel.
That's actually a really powerful analogy, yes. The source explains that transcending your limiting beliefs, genuinely forgiving past, hurts both given and received, and actively removing the energetic debris of past trauma. This is essential.
Why is that so crucial for the flash?
Because those unresolved shadows, those limiting beliefs, they act like clouds blocking your inner sun. When you successfully face a deep-seated fear or truly forgive an old wound, you're not just healing in a psychological sense, you are literally removing massive energetic impediments. You're clearing the pathway for your own innate light to shine through unimpeded.
So the flash might even occur right after a major blockage is released.
Very often, yes. It's like the final barrier falls away and the light just floods in. It makes perfect sense energetically. The effort isn't always about adding more light. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remove the darkness that's obscuring the light already burning brightly within you.
And where's the focal point for this work, for the ignition?
The heart center, unambiguously. The heart is described as the seat of the soul sun. It's the primary portal, the point where all these higher cosmic energies, including the potential solar flash energies, integrate first and most easily.
So the practice involves consciously shifting our awareness out of the head, the overthinking, analytical 3D mind.
Right, that endless chatter.
And dropping down into the heart space, feeling from there.
Exactly. And this connects directly to the scientific concept of heart coherence. This isn't just about feeling nice fuzzy feelings.
It's measurable, right?
Yes. Heart coherence, generating sustained feelings of appreciation, gratitude, compassion, love, creates a measurable, rhythmic electromagnetic field that's far stronger than the brain's. Avolon calls this state the spark plug for enlightenment experiences.
A spark plug. Okay.
These coherent heart feelings are like the oxygen that allows that divine inner flame to grow, stabilize, and eventually reach that critical mass for the flash. It literally shifts your brainwaves from that frantic beta state into the calmer alpha and theta states, which are much more receptive to higher dimensional input and integration of your higher self.
Okay, that provides a strong foundation. Well, let's move into the practical techniques Avolon suggests for activation. The first one you mentioned is visualization.
Yes, and this is recommended as a daily intentional practice, not just daydreaming, but focused creation. The technique involves visualizing a brilliant white gold sun right in your heart center.
Okay.
See its light expanding, filling your entire body, clearing every cell. But then, and this is important, you deliberately expand it beyond your physical body. Imagine it filling the room, then your home, your city, the entire planet, all of reality, growing brighter and brighter, until you imagine it reaching a spontaneous flashpoint, an internal silent explosion of pure light.
Yeah.
You feel the radiance.
And the key feeling here isn't striving or rigidity.
No, definitely not. It needs to be done as a joyous affirmation. You're setting a clear subconscious intention for complete illumination. You're basically saying to the universe and your higher self, the light within me is increasing, I welcome it, and I am ready for it to fully reveal itself. Joyful readiness.
Okay, that makes sense. The second technique sounds very quantum, directly addressing the timeline shift, embodying the 5D self now.
Yes, this is incredibly powerful. It bypasses linear time. The practice requires you to consistently ask yourself questions like, if I were already living my highest purpose and joy, if I was fully anchored in my highest 5D timeline right now, how would I act today? What choices would I make? What old habits would I just drop? How would I treat others? How would I treat myself?
This is where I think a lot of people get tripped up, though. They try to act as if they have the big house or the perfect relationship, focusing on the external outcomes, and then get frustrated when the Bentley doesn't materialize overnight. Where does this technique usually go wrong, according to Avolon?
It fails when the focus is purely external, exactly as you said. People try to embody the results, the external symbols of success or happiness, rather than embodying the internal vibration of the 5D self.
What's the difference?
The 5D self operates from a state of trust, peace, flow, and inherent abundance, regardless of the current external circumstances, like the bank account balance. So embodying it means aligning your internal choices right now, dropping the habit of self-criticism, for example, choosing patience when you'd normally get frustrated, acting with integrity even when it's hard.
Yeah, so you align the inside first.
Yes. By doing that, by aligning your internal state as if you are already there, you are essentially vibrationally merging with that future high-frequency timeline. And that strong, consistent internal alignment then compels external reality to rearrange itself to match. That's when you see those sudden shifts, the increased synchronicity, the miracles.
So it's not about faking it till you make it externally, it's about being it vibrationally until reality conforms.
You got it. It's using vibrational mechanics consciously. Doing this consistently moves you steadily towards that higher timeline, but the inner solar flash we're talking about can provide a massive quantum leap in this process, a sudden, permanent alignment with that highest possible trajectory for you.
Okay, and the final technique Avolon mentions is conscious surrender. This feels almost paradoxical after we've talked about all this effort, visualization, and embodying.
It is the ultimate paradox, isn't it? But it's essential. The preparation, the visualization, the heart coherence, the shadow work ensures you've built the energetic structure, the container, strong enough to hold the immense light of the flash. The surrender. That's the key that finally unlocks the door.
How so?
It's that moment you genuinely stop struggling. You stop letting the ego drive the bus, demanding control, trying to figure it all out. You consciously give the entire process over to the divine will, to your higher self, which Avolon affirms is always rooted in love, wisdom, and your highest good.
Yeah, it sounds like that point many describe on spiritual paths where they hit rock bottom and finally just give up the fight.
Right, but Avolon encourages conscious surrender. You don't necessarily need to hit rock bottom first. You can choose to surrender from a place of deep trust and love, rather than exhaustion or despair.
How do you do that practically?
In meditation, or even just quietly sitting, it can be a simple, heartfelt affirmation. Okay, Source, I'm ready. I completely surrender my timing, my expectations, my fears. I surrender to your divine blueprint for me. I open every cell, every part of my being to receive the divine light fully. This total, loving, trusting opening is what invites the higher self, the soul's full radiance, to enter into complete expression. And that, very often, is the precise moment the inner light bursts forth. The flash occurs.
That shift from the striving seeker to the open, trusting receiver, that really feels like the tipping point.
It truly is. And once that flash is activated, Avolon assures us the internal foundation is permanently shifted. It's an upgrade. Your soul's light, once it's fully released like that, doesn't just dim back down to the old default setting. You've anchored in a higher frequency for good.
That's incredibly hopeful. Okay, that gives us the mechanism and the how-to. Let's move to section 3, which addresses a really practical and important question, especially for those identifying as starseeds or just sensitive souls in general: the role of external guidance and energy work. There's often this fear, isn't there? A fear of seeking help, maybe feeling it's a sign of weakness, or worse, that you're handing over your power to someone else. Is external spiritual support actually safe?
This is such a critical point, and Avolon offers really strong clarity here. That concern about handing over power, it's absolutely valid if the guide or healer is operating from their ego or from lower intentions, or if they foster dependency. That's a real risk.
Okay.
However, and this is a big however, when you receive energy work or guidance or support from someone who is in true alignment with the source, someone operating from genuine love and service, then it is not only safe, it can be profoundly empowering. It becomes an act of unity, of collaboration on your path.
But how do you know? How do you know that intense wave of, say, joy or relief you feel during a session isn't just the healer's energy temporarily influencing you, rather than your own actual progress, that it won't just fade away afterwards?
That's a great question, and it touches the core principle here. No true healing is ever external. An authentic guide or healer isn't giving you something you lack. They aren't implanting their energy into you. They are acting as a catalyst.
A catalyst.
Yes. They are awakening what already exists within you. That strong wave of love or peace or unity you feel during a session, that's your own soul responding. It's your own higher self resonating with the higher vibration that the practitioner is holding and offering.
Like the candle lighting, another analogy.
Exactly that. The aligned healer acts like a powerful, clear mirror. They reflect back to you the divine light you already carry, helping to ignite it further, sometimes bypassing your own mental blocks or skepticism.
So your light has always been there.
Always. But maybe the density of life, past traumas, limiting beliefs have kept a sort of lid on it. The practitioner's high, clear frequency momentarily raises your own vibrational field, creating a space where it's easier for your light to break through those residual blockages and shine brightly, maybe for the first time in a long time.
That sounds like it could be a massive acceleration tool then.
It absolutely can be. Receiving aligned assistance can accelerate the journey dramatically. Sometimes it provides that quantum leap we talked about, because it can help bypass the persistent doubts and defenses of the human mind, as Avolon puts it.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think of someone, maybe a starseed, who's been studying spirituality for decades, intellectually understands everything, but still struggles with deep patterns of self-sabotage or lack. A targeted energy clearing session with an aligned practitioner might help release the root energetic anchor of that pattern. Afterwards, those old habits might just fall away, almost effortlessly, because the underlying energetic charge holding them in place has been dissolved by the focused light transmitted through the practitioner.
Wow. Okay, so if that help can be that potent, the process of discerning who to get help from must be incredibly important. What criteria does Avolon give us for choosing wisely? How do we avoid the pitfalls?
It's paramount. And the first step always is your own intuition, your gut feeling. If something feels off or unsafe or controlling, walk away, period. Don't second guess that inner knowing.
Trust the gut. Okay.
But beyond that initial feeling, Avolon provides 3 key markers, concrete things to look for when evaluating if a guide or practitioner is truly aligned. The first, and maybe the most crucial, is empowerment versus dependency.
Can you elaborate on that distinction? It sounds vital.
A truly aligned guide's core mission is always to lead you back to your own inner authority, your own connection to source. They will never seek to control you, make you dependent on their advice for every little decision, or imply that they possess some special access to the divine that you yourself lack.
So red flags would be?
Big red flag. If they suggest only they can clear a specific curse or blockage for you, or if they constantly emphasize external dangers or threats that only they can protect you from, if you follow their exact steps or keep coming back for sessions, that's building dependency, not empowerment. True alignment empowers you to connect directly to your own divine essence.
Got it. What's the second marker we should look for?
Integrity and purity. This requires some observation. Look at their life, listen to their overall message, feel their energy. Do they actually practice what they preach? Do they seem to live by the higher values they talk about? Compassion, honesty, humility, respect?
Walking the talk.
Essentially, yes. A truly aligned practitioner holds a sacred, protected space that resonates with divine grace. This usually means their personal life reflects a purity of intention and action. They aren't driven by hidden agendas, the need for validation, or purely self-serving financial interests. You can often feel that clarity, that lack of egoic static.
And the third marker?
Humility and service. This is key. True healers recognize that the divine source, the light, the healing energy, is acting through them. It's not their personal power or special talent doing the work. They see themselves as channels, as conduits for grace.
So there's a lack of self-importance.
Exactly. They operate from a place of humble service, not self-aggrandizement or seeking worship. Their focus is on your empowerment and healing, not on building their own pedestal. And tied to this, Avolon reminds us that receiving help isn't a failure of self-reliance or a sign of weakness.
That's an act of unity.
It's an exercise in unity and trust, recognizing that all help ultimately originates from the single source. Whether that help arrives as a direct insight during your own meditation, or through the loving hands and focused intention of a trusted friend or guide on the path, it's all source assisting source.
That's a beautiful reframe. Seeing it as sacred collaboration, recognizing that sometimes another person's aligned light is exactly the catalyst your own soul needs to fully open and ignite.
It is. Sometimes the soul just needs that loving push, that reflection, that temporary infusion of high-frequency light from a fellow traveler to help it break through and reach its full internal power. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Okay, now that we've covered the mechanics, the preparation, and the role of support, let's transition to Section 4. This feels like the ultimate destination of this inner work, reframing the identity. Moving beyond feeling like a lost, sensitive starseed who doesn't belong, to recognizing oneself as what Avolon calls a galactic heir.
Yes. This is one of the most potent, most transformative shifts in perspective offered in this guidance. It's about fundamentally recognizing yourself not just as a temporary physical human being navigating Earth challenges, but as an infinite being, a being of direct divine lineage, what Avolon terms soul royalty.
Soul royalty. That sounds potentially egoic, though.
They are very clear it's not meant in an egoic sense of superiority over others, not at all. It's about understanding your inherent, non-negotiable, infinite worth. Your birthright as a direct extension of the Creator.
So if we are galactic heirs, then the kingdom of heaven isn't some future place, it must be.
Accessible right now, absolutely. The kingdom of heaven in this context is the 5D consciousness. It's that state of unity, peace, infinite resourcefulness, and unconditional love. It's not something you earn, it's your innate state, your birthright that you've temporarily forgotten.
And the whole long, often difficult journey here on Earth.
The primary purpose, according to this view, isn't to desperately seek some external promised land or wait for rescue. It's to remember and fully reclaim the truth that you already are that which you've been seeking. The kingdom is within you, waiting to be activated.
To help us really grasp the depth of this journey back to remembrance, Avolon offers a fascinating cosmic reinterpretation of the prodigal son parable. Let's walk through the stages. Stage 1 is the journey out, right?
Exactly. The soul, originally existing as pure, radiant light, came forth from the Creator's home. You could call it the realm of pure light, bliss, unity. And it consciously chose to venture into physical incarnation, specifically onto Earth during this transformative time. For the experience, for the growth, for the opportunity to bring light into density. But to engage fully with the 3D experience, the soul willingly took on the veil of forgetfulness. It temporarily forgot its divine origins, becoming in a sense a wanderer in the dense, challenging, often isolating 3D realm.
This really explains that deep sense of displacement, of feeling alien, that so many starseeds report.
It provides a powerful framework for it, yes. And the inheritance the son takes with him and squanders in the parable. Cosmically, this isn't just physical money. It represents the soul's innate endowment. Its vital life force, its constant connection to source, its inner security, its memory of unity, its natural state of bliss.
And the soul spends this vital wealth
fighting the illusions of separation and lack inherent in the 3D matrix, trying to find happiness and security in external things, which are ultimately unsatisfying.
Which leads perfectly into the second stage. The exhaustion, finding oneself in the far country, spiritually speaking.
Yes. In the density of 3D life, the soul often feels diminished, depleted. It spends so much of its precious energy just on survival, on navigating fear-based systems, on competition, on trying to fit in. The constant density can drain the soul's hope, its remembrance of its true power, mirroring the prodigal son, exhausting his wealth and ending up desperate, feeding the swine.
Which is a metaphor for
engaging in low-vibration activities, thoughts, or relationships just to feel like you're getting by, just to survive, even when it feels soul-crushing.
But even in that lowest point, the guidance stresses that the divine spark never truly fades.
Never. It can be dimmed, obscured, forgotten, but the core soul light, your connection to source, is eternal and indestructible. All the challenges, the heartbreaks, the tears, the moments of feeling utterly lost from this perspective, they serve a purpose, they mature the soul, they eventually push it towards the profound realization that everything it was desperately seeking outside itself was actually within all along.
And that realization sparks the return.
Yes. The return home isn't about physically dying and going back somewhere. It's an internal turning, a reunion with your own eternal divine essence while still embodied.
And the creator, the source, the father in the parable. How does it receive this returning aspect?
With nothing but pure celebration, unconditional love and acceptance. There's zero judgment for having left or messed up. The core realization dawns. The separation was only ever an illusion, a temporary experience lived through the limited physical senses and the forgetting. Once that truth truly lands and settles into the heart, the very seed of the inner flash and unshakable peace is born. You remember who you are.
Which brings us finally to the transformation phase, the powerful shift that happens upon this remembrance.
Yes. When you truly remember and reclaim your divine nature, that chronic fatigue that might have plagued you turns into a sense of perpetual renewal, drawing energy directly from source. The feeling of scarcity, of not enoughness, transforms into an inner knowing of infinite abundance, regardless of external conditions. Loneliness dissolves into a felt sense of profound union with all that is.
You stop being the seeker.
Exactly. You stop being the afflicted seeker, constantly looking outside, hoping for the next guru, the next workshop, the next external event like the solar flash to fix you or save you. Instead, you become a conscious transmitter of the light, the love, the abundance that you've rediscovered within. Your life naturally begins to reflect the fullness that has always existed inside. The mission wasn't to conquer the 3D world. It was to remember and reclaim your royal identity within it.
And by embodying that galactic heir status, fully owning that inherent worth,
you automatically illuminate the path for everyone else. Your very presence becomes an inspiration, a frequency anchor, helping others to wake up, activate their own inner flash, and accelerate the collective shift into 5D consciousness. It's the ultimate victory of the soul's journey through density.
Okay, this is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for people listening who might be experiencing shifts. You've done the inner work, maybe focused on heart coherence, faced some shadows, perhaps you've consciously surrendered. What are the actual signs, concrete, verifiable indicators that, yes, the inner flash has occurred or is occurring, and you've successfully shifted timelines? Section 5 is all about the evidence.
Right, because it's not just theoretical. The evidence manifests tangibly, often across 5 key categories. It's both physical and metaphysical. The first category involves energy and physical sensations.
Okay, what should listeners be looking out for in their own bodies? What might they feel?
Look for a sudden, often quite noticeable and sustained surge of energy. It might feel like an internal tingling or a pleasant vibration that becomes your new baseline, not just a fleeting buzz. This can be the sensation of your light body rapidly expanding.
Like Kundalini rising.
It can manifest like that, yes, or sometimes as a feeling of gentle electric current running up the spine or through the limbs. But crucially, Avolon highlights experiencing moments of intense, spontaneous euphoria or ecstasy without any external trigger.
Bliss for no reason.
Exactly. Just suddenly feeling overwhelming love radiating from every pore, a profound joy that is entirely baseless, not connected to anything good happening outside you. That intense, unprovoked bliss is a major indicator that the inner light has reached full ignition and power.
Wow. Okay, second category, synchronicity and flow. We all experience bits of synchronicity, but how does it change after this kind of inner shift?
It becomes relentless, almost undeniable. You'll notice significant synchronicity clustering intensely happening daily, even hourly for a period. It's like the universe is constantly winking at you.
Confirming the alignment.
Precisely. It confirms you are operating in a persistent state of flow, and your new, higher vibrational timeline is instantly mirroring itself back to you. Things just work out. Doors open effortlessly. If you need a piece of information, it just appears. If you need a resource, someone offers it or you stumble upon it.
And what about old situations?
Old situations, relationships, even jobs that no longer match your new 5D vibration. They tend to either quietly dissolve and fall away, sometimes surprisingly easily, or they fundamentally transform and improve to meet your new frequency. The friction disappears.
That sounds like reality literally bending around your new state. Which leads nicely into the third sign, temporal shifts. How does our experience of time itself change?
Time becomes noticeably less linear, much more fluid and subjective. You might commonly experience time speeding up dramatically when you're engaged in something joyful or creative, or conversely, slowing right down in moments of deep presence or crisis. But more profoundly,
Yes.
you might start manifesting things so quickly that it feels like time has literally folded or compressed.
Can you give a practical example of that, time folding?
Sure. Let's say you have a casual thought, I could really use a specific, maybe slightly obscure book to help with this project. And then maybe just hours later, a friend randomly messages you, hey, I was clearing out some books, thought you might like this one. And it's the exact book. Or you walk into a used bookstore and it's sitting right there on the front display. It bypasses the normal weeks or months it might have taken to find it through usual means.
That rapid, almost instant manifestation.
That indicates you're starting to operate outside of the constraints of 3D linear time and more directly within the quantum field of instant creation, where thought and reality are much closer.
Fascinating. Okay, fourth category. A transformed perceptual change. How do our actual senses adapt or change with this higher frequency?
Your perception generally deepens and becomes richer, more multi-layered. You might start noticing profound beauty in very ordinary things, the intricate pattern on a leaf, the way light hits a wall, maybe even the sounds of the city resolving into interesting frequencies rather than just noise.
Seeing the world with new eyes.
Literally. The source material mentions some people might start perceiving subtle energies more easily, maybe seeing auras around people or plants, or feeling the energy of a room acutely. And definitely feeling that sense of unity, the interconnectedness of all things much more intensely and consistently, not just as an idea, but as a felt reality.
The veil thins.
Exactly. The veil between the physical and the spiritual becomes noticeably thinner. You might find yourself receiving guidance, insights, or information downloads instantly, without needing to consciously think or reason your way there. It just arrives.
And finally, the fifth sign, which you hinted can sometimes be the most challenging phase. Identity purging.
Yes, this is a really common, necessary, and often intense part of the integration process after a significant inner flash or timeline jump. The infusion of light is so powerful that it automatically triggers a kind of life review, or more accurately, an emotional and mental purge.
What does that feel like?
It can genuinely feel like the old timeline self. The personality structure built on fear, limitation, past wounds, and 3D conditioning is dying. Because energetically it is. It has to dissolve to make space for the expanded self.
That sounds potentially traumatic, even if it's ultimately for the best.
It can definitely be intensely emotional and sometimes confusing if you don't understand what's happening. You might experience sudden, unexpected waves of tears or deep grief seemingly out of nowhere related to old, perhaps even forgotten situations. Or bursts of anger about past injustices might surface, but often these waves are quickly followed by periods of immense relief or liberating laughter.
Emotional volatility.
Yes, but it's volatility with a purpose. It confirms that residual 3D emotional baggage, subconscious programs, and limiting identities are being swiftly cleared out by the new, higher frequency you're holding. It's like a deep, energetic cleanse. And what emerges from this purge is a new, strengthened, more authentic, and integrated self, carrying a powerful sense of liberation, clarity, and inner peace.
So if you're listening and you identify strongly with several of these signs, the constant flow state, the crazy synchronicity, the uncaused joy, the weird time stuff, maybe even the intense emotional clearing, you're likely either right in the middle of a significant quantum leap or perhaps right on the verge of one.
Absolutely. And it's crucial to remember, Avolon stresses this, the process is always safe. It's always guided by your highest self, your soul. Even when the purging feels intense or the energy feels overwhelming, you are held. Trust the process.
This has been a truly illuminating deep dive into this perspective from Avolon, the Andromedans. So let's try to summarize. What does this all mean for you, the listener, the potential galactic heir, right now?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the fundamental paradigm has shifted. The power isn't out there waiting for an external event. The flash, the ignition point, is inside you. It's your birthright and arguably your responsibility to fuel it. Through intentional alignment, through cultivating heart coherence, through the courage to face your shadows, and ultimately through conscious surrender, you have to know you are an active timeline creator. Your personal frequency choices ripple outwards, directly impacting the collective trajectory.
And external help.
External support from aligned sources can be a powerful, beautiful accelerator. But choose with discernment, look for empowerment, integrity, and humility. And remember, your ultimate purpose isn't to remain a struggling seeker forever. It's to fully remember and reclaim your inherent status as a divine heir right here, right now.
And if the expansion phase, the integration after the flash, feels really intense,
the source reminds us very practically that support is always available. The process is safe, yes, but the rapid expansion of your light body can feel overwhelming sometimes, physically or emotionally. You are explicitly encouraged to call upon loving, high vibrational assistance. Whether that's consciously asking the Andromedans themselves for help, or Archangel Michael for strength and protection, or connecting with your own guides, or even trusted, aligned human support. Ask for stabilization, ask for grace, ask for integration support. It will be given. Because remember, this is a permanent soul upgrade. Your highest frequency is now anchored or anchoring. You don't go back.
It's a one-way path to a higher state of consciousness. Okay.
Okay.
Now, as we wrap up, let's leave everyone with that final provocative thought, something to really mull over based on this guidance. It flips the whole solar flash narrative on its head.
Right. The guidance subtly suggests that the massive, globally anticipated external solar flash event, maybe it isn't just some random predetermined cosmic event happening to us on a set schedule.
What's the alternative?
What if that external flash is actually the culmination? The collective planetary level epiphenomenon that gets triggered only when a critical mass of individual hearts, millions of inner solar flashes ignite simultaneously around the globe.
Wow. So what if the cosmic cycle isn't waiting for a specific date on some galactic calendar, but is actually waiting for us? Waiting for our collective inner work, our collective heart opening to reach its peak intensity? What if the universe is simply preparing to mirror the readiness of the light that finally bursts forth from within humanity itself?
Exactly. What if the external event is contingent on our internal activation, rather than the other way around?
That puts the power and the responsibility squarely back with each one of us. Something profound to think about.
Definitely. Think about that incredible potential, that power, as you go forward on your journey.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Until next time, take care and have a wonderful and blessed day.